The camera is on
Me too. One. It's on you.
Hello, everyone. This is Meir,
Focus.
and I want you to know my two helpers. One of them is Robbie, who prepared you for the meeting. One of them is Jean in French or Jean in English, who is assisting me and is my partner. And so I want to talk today about very important topics, and they are spine problems and headaches. I always said out loud, and many people kind of jokingly, that my biggest social problem is that I don't have spine pain because everybody else does. And if I have here and there a kink, I completely get rid of it very, very quickly. And so the thing that I want to say is that it is more serious and severe than we think. I think that basically every day, more than 11 million people are lying flat on the back, unable to move in North America. Normally, the problem resolves itself within a week or two, and they're able to go back to work. But I've seen too many cases of people feeling desperate, unable to move from enormous amount of back pain. And all of that could be easily avoided. Now I've reached my 70s, and I can tell you that the earlier you start to work on your back, the better. But just be aware that the simple morning stiffness needs to be dedicated to. If you have, let's say, 10 minutes in the morning, then spend those 10 minutes to get rid of the stiffness. Because with the years, stiffness becomes osteoarthritis. So you can't just let yourself be stiff, remain stiff, and do nothing about it. It's exactly why I walked today little. I walked 8 blocks from my home to here. But yesterday, I walked fast from my home uh, on the beach to the Cliff House and back. And that was a good 4.5 uh, uh, miles. And then I walked from my home, the 8 blocks to my school. That is the kind of walking you want to have. Around 20 blocks or more, in my case, 50 blocks or more. But you don't want to ever have a day without walking. And the older you get, and the slower your movement is, the more you need to do it. I've seen people with terrible posture if they didn't take care of the posture. For example, slouching at the desk on a regular basis. Once your bones started to be weak and you get osteoporosis, you start to be bent. You start to have kyphosis, it's called, and also not moving much with your lower back, no matter in which good shape you think you are, and especially if you think you're in good shape because you did all kinds of athletics. That's a wonderful prescription for spinal disc problems. Now, here is the important thing for me to say. Most surgeons actually believe you should not do spine surgery. They're being pressured by their clients to do those surgeries. Truth of the matter is that most spine surgeries lead to other surgeries. That's why one uh, famous orthopedist said, all spine surgeries are necessary except the first. You are easing the pain of sciatic that happens to so many people, like pain that radiates down your buttocks, your thigh, your calf, down to the little toe in your foot. And so you alleviate it by fusing vertebrae and taking away the pressure of the disc. And within a month, you feel good. And within 2 or 3 years, you have pain in the front of your thigh. And now they will have to relieve the pain of the femoral nerve. And that will be done, but don't worry, 10 years later, just for a little accident here or there, they need to work on your cervical spine. And that really is a continuous spiral that leads to more and more destruction of your back. What's the solution? For your pain, there are several solutions, but let me say what you shouldn't be doing. Don't take pain suppressors because that creates a bigger problem. To begin with, pain suppressors, and I can count on one hand how many of them I took in my whole life. Now I'm reaching my uh, beginning 70s. I'm already past 70. I don't take Tylenol and I don't take aspirin. And it's not that I never took them, but I take them once every 10 to 15 years. And I regret even doing that. But sometimes they were helpful in times of high fever or something of that nature. But I shouldn't even taken it then. Aspirin, Tylenol should not be taken. Opioids should be stopped. We should stop thinking about suppressing the sensation of pain. Because when you have pain, it means something wrong happens in your body. So if something wrong is happening in your body, then you should repair that, work on that, change that, so nothing wrong can be in your body. That's the most important thing that I want to say here. It is wrong to numb your body. You also have side effects to all those pain suppressors in that they slow down the work of the nervous system and they impair the work of the nervous system. And eventually it shortens your life, in my opinion. You know that one reporter asked George Bernard Shaw, how come he lived as long as he lived? In his time, men used to die at the age of 62 and women used to die at the age of 64. And it was in the 50s. He took the reporter up to an attic and have shown him shelves of medications and said, this is all the medications prescribed to me that I never took. I think that's so important. I'm not saying never, ever use, because in fact, life is not ever black and white. It's in the shade of grays. Sometimes we have to take something, but in most cases, when people took Advil, Tylenol, anything of that nature, Vicodin, they always cause themselves problems later. So what's the solution of that? Well, number one, if you have a tendency for inflammation, one thing that you could do easily when you finish a shower, finish it with cold water. I personally love to bathe in the San Francisco Ocean, where most people don't dare to go in, just for a minute or two, not for a long time, and take a nice hot shower or bath. But being in that cold is so refreshing, and it takes away inflammation that builds up on me from the act that I'm doing right now, sitting. That by itself causes inflammation. And for example, when people use the computer a lot, I tell them put some cold towel around your eyes to take away the cold. But if you have a sciatic attack, the thing to do is to sit in a cold bath immediately, because that takes away the inflammation. And if I put a client with sciatic in a hot tub, which we have in the uh, uh, in the backyard of our school, I use a hose of cold water to put on the lower back in order to take away the inflammation that they have. So that is so important. Number two, detect the movement that you're lacking. What are you not doing? What is hard for you? Let's do just several movements and see what we should be doing to improve them. And I'm actually talking about movements on your chair, right? So, for example, anytime you're about to sit on a chair, stand and sit 10 times. Simple as that. But do not involve your back in that sitting. Of course, it's a bit involved anyway, but put one hand on your middle back, one hand on your chest, and bend and straighten your legs 10 times. It is that simple. So you separate between the legs and the back. That is so important. One. Okay, we've done it. I think we counted 10. If I counted only 9, correct me in your chat. And what I want you to do is move right now the back in rotating motion. So you're in your office or you're at home doing important work. How long does it take to stand and sit slowly? Slowly, not fast. Up and down, not that long. And you build wonderful calf and leg muscles, right? Now the next thing is you move your whole upper body in rotating motion. So there is some complexity to that. So let's work on it. You put your chin on your chest and you slowly bend down. And then when you come up, you start with the lower back, then with the upper back, then with the neck, and you get up. Again, chin on the shoulder, shoulders apart, middle back, slowly down, and then we go slowly up, slowly up, slowly up. And again, we go slowly down, slowly down, slowly down. And if it hurts, and if it feels sensitive, say great, because then you feel the tension that you have in your back. And so slowly bend down and slowly come up. What could be simpler? When I was in my teens and in my early 20s, I used to bend and straighten, and I counted in different positions 100 times every morning. Okay? I'm not asking you to do the same thing. You're in your office, you're busy, but you can count 10 times. So, for example, some of them is you bend to one knee, slowly down, and then you straighten. Again, you bend to that knee, slowly down, and then you straighten. And you do the same thing here. And if there's any kink or any pain, now you're working it out. And you can start by stretching backwards and then coming down. And again, down and up. Now let's say that you have more than the 5 minutes, but even this 5 minutes of standing and sitting and then mobilizing your back already change your life because you're not allowing the tension to build up and build up. If you have a little bit more time, we're going to do several other exercises to loosen up the back. But be aware of the fact that you want to fit exercise to every situation. For example, yesterday I had a lady who came to me with serious osteoporosis, so I gave her very easy exercises to do that were fitting her body. I have people with muscular dystrophy. They need to have exercise that fit their body. Have exercise that fits your body, your situation, and let your exercise work for you. So, for example, you can stand again. Remember, when you stand, you let the legs do it. So, you can also put the legs together, sit and stand. Put them apart. Sit and stand. Those are different things. So now you can hold your leg and bring it backwards. Hold your leg and bring it backwards. Now you can arch the chest and do the same thing. You can arch the chest, pull the leg backwards, and do the same thing. What happens to us is that we have more than 600 muscles with many possibilities of movement. What happened to most of us, we restricted our movements to life. Wearing suit and tie sometimes does that because your posture is not very flexible. Appearing properly in society does that. And so now we'll talk a little bit more about you working at home before you go to work or on the weekend when you have time. And we'll do several exercises. Of course, you can read many, many more of them in my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. It has a fantastic spine chapter and a fantastic joint chapter. And by the way, a fantastic headache chapter. So all those will be done. And those of you in Hebrew, you can read this translation, Achaim Ketnoah, and work with it. So here is the thing that I want to say. To begin with, let's challenge our walking. Here is the thing. If you are full of thoughts and worries, then what's going to happen is your center, which should be in the belly, is in your neck. If you're full of emotions of all kinds, then your center is in the chest. If your center is in your neck, then you walk on tiptoes much of the time. Yeah? You walk, I should do it to the width of the room. You walk on tiptoes. If your center is in your chest, then you can see most of the people basically hit their leg against the sidewalk, basically, and they stamp on the leg. It's the beginning of arthritis. It's the beginning of destroying your ankle. It's the beginning of destroying your knees. And many people run like this, which is the worst thing. And the Achilles tendon in the back of the leg becomes short, and it's hard for people to move. If it's in the center, well, let's first of all bend as if we were just getting out of our chair, like this. Tuck here and say center, center, center. And then walk heel to toe. Because when you walk heel to toe, you are centered. And when you walk backwards, it's toe to heel. So we can do several runs with forwards and backwards. But remember that you want a full movement of your foot. Because to be centered, you must have full mobility in your joints. And even if you became a little bit arthritic, you still can work into the direction of full mobility of your joints. And you walk heel to toe, and you walk toe to heel in a very easy fashion. To make it easy for you, you can walk a little bit sideways. Many times I teach this people after they have been in very difficult conditions, like having strokes or heart disease. And, it all starts with how we walk, with how we move, in what we're doing with ourselves. Movement is life. And this world is full of the generation of thoughts, both intellectual and emotional, and the generation of life, basically. So to not be degenerate, we should start and change the way we move, including the way we walk or run. So again, we can go backwards, and we can go forwards like this, and mobilize ourselves. Now, it's very important for us, if we have time, to also work on the floor. We are in a generation when we lie in beds. And in past generation, out of poverty, people used to lie on the ground. For us, it's like an unusual thing to lie on the ground. But I can tell you, in my house, I have a meditation room where I lie on the floor. And I love the carpet room we have here, which is a no shoes room in our small center. And in this room, we walk only with socks or bare feet on this carpet. So I would like all of you to do the next two things. And this is to collect yourself a mattress. And if you have in your disposal two tennis balls, okay, two tennis balls. I'm having also a bunker ball, which you can easily get in online. So when we start, we have to really massage ourselves to some extent. Those who don't have bunker ball, which I assume is most of you, you can hit yourself nice and gentle, not hard, not ever hard. Kind of feel like suction, in your. It kind of refreshes the body when we do that. So we hit ourselves, and what we're going to do is several interesting exercises. So get yourself either a blanket or a yoga mat. Get yourself a pillow. Now I'll get this pillow. Good, I like this pillow. And let me know if I'm not seeing well. Okay, I'll go to the width. Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'm lying down on the floor. And first of all, a very nice position. That is something I cannot demonstrate well enough on videos, if at all, is to put your hands on your diaphragm, to feel your pelvis, kind of tilt it upwards a little bit and then down, bring your shoulders up and then down, and visualize that the lower back goes all the way forwards and the upper back goes all the way forwards from where it is. So we visualize a long back. You can even close your eyes and imagine all your vertebrae separating from each other. So see that my knees are bent. That is to flatten the lower back. And a sense of relaxation that comes from a sense of expansion. And very simple exercise can help that. For example, we can interlace the fingers and move the arms in rotating motion in both directions. And then we can point the hands up and move the arms in rotating motion in both directions. And then bring one leg to the chest and move the leg in rotating motion in both directions. And bring the other leg to the chest. Feel the nice stretch it leads to. Then bring both legs and move them both in rotating motion in both directions. Then I'm taking the pillow off. I'm going to take one leg and move it opposite than my head. So I'm moving my head without being held by the neck. I just hold my head and I'm moving in rotating motion in both directions. And we'll do the same thing in both ways. Okay, we're lying flat this way. And now I'm bringing the knees one by one down. Inwards. And again, I'm holding both legs and I'm moving my legs and my head separate. So it leads to coordination. Then I'm putting my head down. Now, get the pillow again and roll from side to side. Roll from side to side on the floor. And allow yourself to roll at the greatest possible ease. You just fall from side to side. Just fall from side to side. And when you are on the side, tap on the tip of the shoulder to visualize that the tip of the shoulder is doing the motion. So you focus, you kinesthetically, with the body sense, you focus on the tip of the shoulder and you visualize that the tip of the shoulder is moving the shoulder in rotating motion, and you move it in rotating motion to let go of a lot of unnecessary muscles. You think about that. And then you take the arm and you move the whole arm in rotating motion in both directions. And you tap and you think as if the fingertips are doing the motion. So you say fingertips, 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 and you lift the arm and you move the arm in rotating motion in both directions. So do exactly the same thing on the other side. You tap and you focus on the tip of the shoulder. And you breathe deeply and you say fingertips, fingertips, and you move the shoulder in rotating motion in both directions. Tap and say fingertips, fingertips, and then move the shoulder in rotating motion in both directions. Then lift the arm and move the whole arm in rotating motion in both directions. Tap and say fingertips, fingertips, fingertips. And move the whole arm in rotating motion in both directions. And now roll from side to side. So, again, you lie down and you try to have a sense how the back is. Is it a little bit easier for you to say that the pelvis extends down, for example, in my case, towards the curtains, the window, and the head towards the wall? So, am I stretching? I feel that I'm widening and stretching. Now, this is a very important exercise in that it's so important that you don't put the tennis balls on your vertebrae or on your bones. So let's put the balls on the buttocks, and that really helps to loosen up the buttocks from tremendous tension it has. And I'm moving my legs up and down when I do that. Then I lift the pelvis up. I put the balls on the lower back. Remember, not on the vertebrae, never. But we put it on the lower back close to the vertebrae. And now we move the legs from side to side. And we can feel those balls. And again, you only do it if you're comfortable doing it, even if it aches a little bit, and you don't put it on your bones. Then I lift the pelvis up, and I put it on the lower back, the upper part of the lower back, and I bring my knees one by one to the chest. Okay? Take responsibility and be sure that if you have anything counter-indicated to this, you don't do it. But now you bring the balls higher and you bring the two knees up and you feel them. And at this point, you're going to bring the balls right under the shoulder blades and you interlace your fingers and you move your arms in rotating motion. That is a real deep massage of your back, which is really needy after a lot of sitting. And then you put the balls from the two sides of your shoulders. You interlace your fingers, point them up, and move your arms in rotating motion in both directions. And you can take the balls off. But now comes my questions. Once you took the balls off, and it is, are you comfortable? Does your back feel expensive? Do you feel expanded with the work on your back? And then let's roll again from side to side. One wonderful exercise that we can all do, and of course, there's a lot of conclusion that we can have about the back, and I want to talk about it a little bit. But one wonderful exercise is to get close to the wall, real close, and then to put the legs on the wall. Ah, that's delicious. Because if you were walking with those legs all the time, draining them for all the fluids is such a good feeling. So breathe deeply as you get close to the wall and let the legs relax with the blood that drains from them. So breathe deeply and breathe slowly. Breathe slowly and breathe deeply. Whoa, 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 whoa. Are there many questions in the chat already?
Let's see.
Or not yet?
Not yet. I'm gonna put a chat that says.
No, not yet.
You let me know.
Okay, at this point, I finished talking about the back, except for one thing. You really need to do opposite of what you normally do. If we always are walking straight, then it's a good idea to pull the leg backwards and stretch it. To pull the leg backward and stretch it. To lie on the side and stretch the leg. To lie on the side and stretch the leg. And one more thing. We really need to start and walk independently our toes, and we need to really work our feet a lot. So, for example, foot rotation appears to be something not so hard, but it becomes hard if you do it for a while. For example, let's give ourselves now a minute of just moving the heels in rotating motion. John, can you give us 1 minute of doing that? Okay, so remove the feet.
Scoot back a little bit.
Scoot back.
Mhm.
Okay, is that good?
A little bit more.
You can be
Perfect.
from your side.
Is that better?
Yep.
So we move the feet in rotating motion. And at first it feels like nothing, but you can see that the modern person that confines his or her feet in shoes a lot does not have as much strength as one thinks to move the legs in rotating motion. One of the reasons it's easy for me is that 2 or 3 times a week I walk or run on the beach bare feet. And that makes a huge difference for me. And still, it's such an important exercise to do. Do it all the way up, sideways, down, up, sideways, down. And John will tell us when a minute is over. It's a long minute.
It
isn't
is, it is.
Ah, a minute is over. Top with your feet against the floor. So, what I want to say is that many simple movements we just don't do. And if we start to do them, like, for example, standing on all fours and lifting our leg up, if we start to do them, we're preventing a back pain. Now, can you bring me the bowl, the sitting bowl? And also, you have two main enemies when we're talking about the back. And one of them are shoes on cement. That's why I was talking about mobilizing toes. Well, another enemy is the chair you sit on. So, for example, I love to sit on a ball from time to time. It by itself has its own limitation, but if I sit on a ball enough time, I relieve myself from the tension of sitting on a chair. So changing chairs is important, and changing the instrument on which you sit, basically, is also important. Another thing, of course, we can do with the ball is lie on the ball backwards. That's such a good feeling, you know. And
This could be better from the side.
okay.
You will see your movement.
Okay, so I'll lie on the side, lifting my head up, bringing my arms back. That's opposite of what my back does in modern life. You close the door, please. So that's an important thing to do. Okay, so that's one thing. I want to move into headaches. So there are several reasons for headaches. We have cervical headaches, and there's a definite way to reduce cervical headaches. And this is, first of all, by stretching our neck and stretching it as high as possible. That can take care of it. And if you work on all the areas in the lower part of the skull, especially the concavities, like the hole which we call foramen magnum, right here between the vertebrae and the head. Basically, if we
Turn
work,
completely. Turn completely. More. The back. Shoulder back.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if I work on this area, the foramen magnum, and the styloforamen here, and I stretch my back this way, I'm starting to loosen up my neck. And there is another way to work on the cervical problem here, and this is we sit on the floor. Some people put a pillow in the middle back. I don't need to do it. And first of all, we move the head from side to side. We tap on one side, we tap on another side, and we keep moving the head from side to side. Now we bend forwards, so that's a whole other joint. We bend forwards several times, and again we move the head from side to side. We open and close our mouth as we do it. We look at the wall and stick our tongue in the cheek. So if I'm moving to the right side, I stick the tongue to the cheek. Moving to the left side, I stick the tongue to the cheek. And I'm moving from side to side. I'll bend again, forwards. And now I'm holding the legs, and I'm moving the legs from side to side. And always slide from the wall when we do that. And that's okay. And again, we slide from the wall. I love to also hit my leg with a little bit bunker ball here. Or with my fist. Or both. And I move my legs here. But the way I move my legs should be normally that they're passive. And I let my arms move my legs. Now, I will bend forwards, back, forwards, and the movement of the neck then becomes much, much easier to do. That's one form of headache, which is cervical headache, which means that your neck is tight, and that's why you don't get enough blood to your head. Another reason for having a headache is, of course, not enough blood to the head comes because of simply there isn't good enough circulation. One more reason is eye pain. And for that, we'll do two things. We'll massage the scalp. We will separate between the skull and the scalp. We'll massage around the eyeballs. And we'll rub the hands and do the exercise called palming, where I would take my palming stick, and you can put some pillows on your table. And normally I don't do palming less than 6 minutes, except today, because we have other things to go to. But we'll do today 4 minutes. Alexa, give us 4 minutes.
4 minutes, starting now.
Rub your hands. Put your hands over the eye orbits. And it should be very gently put around the eye orbits. Feel your breath. After all the exercise we did in the last half hour, you can feel your breath a bit deeper. So feel your breath. Feel the breath as it goes to your ribs, to your back, and especially to your abdomen. And visualize that you see no color. And no color means total blackness. So you breathe deeply and slowly, and you visualize that you're seeing complete blackness. Sometimes I sit hours and visualize blackness as I breathe. to be in silence and to breathe and to feel relaxed is so important for the eyes. Because sometimes we have to be in a dark room, cover the eyes with our palms, and simply breathe and relax. Alexa, stop. Slowly take your hands off. And I want to talk about another kind of headache, which is called migraine. I want to say a few things. If you happen to have migraines, when you see that the headache is about to come, get yourself into a dark room and do the following exercises. Inhale, and when you exhale, exhale through tight lips, like squeeze your thumb against three fingers and inhale, and exhale, and tighten your bladder and relax. Inhale, exhale, tighten your anus and relax. Inhale and exhale. If for any reason you need to spit to a cup and allow the saliva to move out, there's more extensive explanation of those exercises in my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. So I would recommend you purchase it. We also have 5 webinars, and the last one of them is a whole day of working on the body. We downsize it from 7 hours to 5 hours, so be the essential there. We have right now all my webinars on vision and on back, all available for a low fee. So take a look at that. But I would like to open this for discussion if Robbie is here. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And we will ask questions. Can you close the door all the way, please?
Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
Well, there are no questions, so that's great.
Okay. Um, Tofu says, why the tongue to the cheek?
Why the thumb to the
The
cheek?
tongue,
Tongue.
when you were on the bar.
Tongue to the cheek. When you look to the side and you push the tongue to the cheek at the same time, then the stretch in the neck becomes bigger, which shows you how all the internal and external muscles are connected.
Any more questions?
Okay, so I think we can finish this presentation, even though it's a 1 hour, but we can finish this presentation. And I would like to thank you very much for attending this YouTube.